everybody, and welcome to the Artistry House. Martin here, and today we've got a little bit belated the print critique, which we planned to do in December, but with the AGM and everything else that we had going on, we've pushed it through to January now. So we've got Sean Conboy with us. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, Martin. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Sean, for those who don't know, is not only a fellow because of his amazing photographic work, commercial and architectural and interiors, but also in December was honoured with honorary fellowship for the work he's done for the Institute. So again, Sean, congratulations on that. It was an amazing achievement. And there's only 20 of you in the country, so it's a very small group. Yeah. So we've got some images. I'm going to run through the images and we're going to share my screen in a second. I know that you've had a quick look at them beforehand, but we call it critique, but it's more an image review. And the idea is that the members who've sent the images in, it's just to help them progress and move forward and improve the photography and improve the work that they're doing. And hopefully at some stage then they'll enter into our print competitions that we'll have the regionals and nationals this year. And also maybe if they're thinking about going for qualification. So the way that it works is that we ask the members to send in prints, 4,000 pixels on the longest side, and a maximum of 3. It can be in any category. Sean's a judge and an international judge and judged everything. So thank you, Sean, for agreeing to do this for us.
Pleasure.
Looks like you've got a beautiful office there with your 5.4 camera in the background.
It's an 8x10 actually, that.
Is it?
Yeah.
I bet it's the first time some of our members will have seen a real camera.
No.
I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I? So do you want, before we crack on, Sean, is there anything you want to say about people putting stuff in for critique? Or I know you find it useful that people do that, don't you?
Absolutely. I think it's another benefit of membership, really, just to get another view on the work. And you know, we don't want to be too critical. Obviously, we're going to make critical points to see where things can go forward, but we're also look for the positive of the image. But it's a great way just to get a review of what you're up to, what your work's up to, get somebody else's opinion on something. It's all about the networking of the Institute. You know what I mean? I remember when I started, I used to do a lot of this. I always have done throughout my career. That's why I like competitions, because you just get feedback on what you're doing all the time. And I love to hear what other people think about various pictures and the way they're photographed and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, so brilliant. Well, we're going to crack on. I'm just going to share my screen so everybody can see the images that you'll be able to see. So this is the first one, Sean. So I'm going to mute myself and just let you crack on with it. If that's okay?
Yeah, fine, Martin.
Good.
Okay, well, this is, I love these sort of pictures, really. Yeah, I really like the picture, like the little boy, the concentration, his reflection in the window looking across. I think it's a lovely picture. I'm only looking at it on screen. I've seen it on my colour calibrated monitor before. I think there's quite a nice tone to this image as well, across throughout the image too. I think it's well seen, well composed and well executed. I mean, you could lay a few little criticisms, maybe the white line in the reflection's quite strong, but that's part of the window, that's part of the design, it's part of what's there. And these sort of pictures, I feel it's more about the moment. And I think it's, I like the picture very much. I think it's a nicely executed, well seen picture. Okay, Martin, we can move on to the next one whenever you're ready with your technical stuff. There we go. Lovely. This looks like the same boy and this is in colour. And I think this is where the use of black and white can work, because I just don't feel this image works as well in colour as the other one did in black and white, frankly. Just the tones, the colours just don't work quite as well for me. Again, it's a nice little moment with Mum and the little boy. I think it looks like Mum's pregnant, capturing that moment across. But I think the hands in the mouth can be a little bit awkward in this particular framing. I'm not as keen on this particular image. Compositionally wise, maybe I'd also like to see the image breathe a bit more space around the image, looking at the top to bottom, left to right, maybe just backing away from the shot a little bit more. But lovely image, but I just don't think it's got the strength of the previous shot. And this one, again, I think, the black and white has worked really, really well here. The expressions are great here. I really like this picture. I would have probably backed it off even a little more. Just, you see, the top and the sides are okay, but the bottom I feel is a little bit tight on Mum's feet. So I would have liked to have seen the picture breathe a little bit more. But for capturing that moment, again, really well done. They've captured the moment, the little boy's expression, the toy in the air, mum looking across, great. And we've got lovely, nice window light from the right-hand side spilling across the image, which gives some nice shape. So yeah, I like that picture very much. Great shot. Now we come on to a little bit more of what I do in my sort of work, some architectural work here. And I think we've got a nice idea here happening, the nice idea with the lighting, the dropping sunlight in the background, giving us the lovely golden hour, blue hour, whatever you want to call it, just capturing across the sky, which I think is working really nice. I really like the idea of making the light work in the two areas. But to be critical, I think needs to be a little bit more control of that light, the way it's hitting everything. For instance, on the right-hand side of the image, the way those lights are cascading across the wood is quite strong. I'd like to have seen that toned down a little bit. Looks like the photographer's thrown a little bit of light into the foreground to light the products, which makes sense. But again, I think he's just added a little bit too much flash there, or whatever he's thrown in there. It needs to be toned down a bit. The thing with shots like this is just being subtle with what you add to the shot. It makes a lot of difference, but you've got to be subtle in how you add it so it's smoother through. You see in the back part of the image, the tones there as you go up the steps are much smoother in my opinion, just smoother throughout the shot there. A little bit of a fire pit or a bright light at the back there. Maybe I would tone that against that, but that's a very, very minor criticism. But I like the idea, I like the composition, and I like the way it's running through the wood. Again, I would have also just rearrange the foreground furniture a little more. I just feel it's a little tight to the table. Just let it breathe. It's amazing, particularly when you're using a wide angle lens, how very small movements in furniture can have a big impact on the shot. But nice shot, nice colors. Yeah. Okay, so this might be a similar series to the picture we saw before. Very dramatic viewpoint. It's quite low. I can see what they've gone for there, but it's creating maybe a little bit too much distortion into the part of the building that's more important. It's a classic case this where I don't know whether a tilt shift lens probably hasn't been used in this shot, and this is where it can be advantageous because you could have maybe got your camera position just that little bit higher and use the shift to put the base into the picture more than rely on the lens. So that what that would do by doing that, you could take that top half of the building out of the area of the lens that's causing more distortion. So you could control that a little bit, which is the beauty of using a tilt shift lens or a tilt shift camera, as we saw with the big old 10-8, which can control all those things. But I like the feel, I like the idea, I like the leading lines leading through. I like the wet feel to the timbers as well, which is causing some really nice reflections in the wood there, which works really nice. Colour palette wise, they've obviously set this to a daylight setting for what's left in the sky and so forth, which is what's coming into the wood with the tones of blues. It's made the inside go quite red and quite yellow. Again, I think that's where you need a little bit more colour control. And this is a case where if you're shooting a raw file, you could make two different files from the same picture and correct the colour in the two and then blend them together to control that colour. Obviously, the other way of doing that, if you want to add some of your own lighting into that interior space to control the colour. But I just think it's a little bit too warm for me personally on that. But it's only a very minor criticism. Also, I would have shot the picture a little bit later just to let the sky have a bit more depth to the blues. But it's a really nice picture. It really leads your eye into the shot, I feel, into the space there, which is really interesting. Also, just with the log burner and maybe the TV needed an image on just to lift that. The TV looks a bit of a black space there. Maybe an image on it could have lifted that, and a little bit more exposure on the log burner could have lifted that. Again, an old trick we always use open fires and log burners just before you do the shot. Screwed up newspaper goes in the fire and that will flare pretty quickly if you need a bit more emphasis from that. But lovely shot. Love the tones in the woods, the reflections, really nice. Yeah, great shot. This is something very unusual. It's some sort of effect that's been laid over the image, which is quite effective. I'm a bit more probably pure photography in the way I like stuff, but no, it's an artistic effect laid across the image, and yeah, makes a very interesting shot. Oh, this is great. Yeah, this is very interesting. I can see somebody's got some plant out on location and they've used some flashlighting, excuse me, some flashlighting on the plant to lift it off the background, which I think you can see is working quite well, particularly around the cab and the wheel area. My only criticism of the way they've lit it is, if you notice, there's not as much light hitting the actual grab arm, this grab arm, which is coming off here. And I think that just needs a bit more flash to balance up with that area, or alternatively, take the flash down on the cab a little bit more, just control. When you're using flash outdoors, it can be really useful, but you need to shape that flash. If you can use any form of flashes that allows you to shape it more, like a outdoor studio flash, battery powered, which allows you to shape that down so you can nozzle it down. So for instance, if you need more light hitting the dark areas around the tires, but keep a little bit more light off the cab. Some nice tones and so forth in the sky, so the blend of that flash going in there means that the photographer's been able to take the exposure down the sky, which I think is very effective. Compositionally, I like the picture. I like the two lines in the foreground. I like the way the light's hitting them. I like the way he's not overlit the foreground, so you've got layers running through the picture. But the sort of rough area here with the Harris fencing, I'm not as keen on. Whether there was a slightly better composition there to maybe minimize that is a possibility. But again, I'm being a minor criticism. Also, the building to the right can be slightly distractive, but you know, I'm being quite critical now. It's difficult when you know when the photographer's there and the location he's got to work on. But I like the idea. I think the idea, the way he's lit the subject, trying to make it come away from it is really good. But I think maybe just a bit more thought on the composition might have made that shot more dramatic. But very good, very, very nice effort. Yeah, this is very interesting. This is some sort of medical scanning machine, I should imagine. Here, I can see the photographer's put some light into the space. He's knocked the top lights off, as you can see, and he's put some light into the space, but I just feel you need to be controlling it a bit more. A little bit what I said before about shaping the light, thinking where the light's going. If you notice, there's a backlight, as you can see, behind the subject, and some of that light spilled onto the ceiling, perhaps a little bit too much, which is flicking your eye up to that part of the ceiling. If you use a barn door or a flag, just to try and keep that light off that particular area. Also, there's some sort of television screen just behind the machine, just above the lady's head there, which is actually throwing some quite interesting light onto her head, but it's quite distractive. You get a bright light source like that somewhere in the shot, your eye often flicks to that part of the picture. Also, compositionally, I see why they've come quite wide to get everything in, but I don't know whether a slight crop coming, a slightly different composition or crop coming more into what's happening in the machine might give it a bit more drama. Sometimes like this, you know, one of my old bosses in London, who was very good at this sort of stuff, getting closer sometimes with a wider lens can really make it interesting, something happen there, particularly with a machine. Obviously watching where you put your adult subjects so they don't get distorted in the lens. Quite nice the way the light's coming onto the patient's face there, but again, I just think that's a little too bright. I would have liked to have seen that part of the image controlled a bit more and taken down. But nice, again, nice, good effort. Great shot. This picture, I really like this picture. The expression on the girl's face is fantastic. The photographer, I think, has done a brilliant job of engaging with his subject, and he's just caught something in her expression which is coming into the photographer really, really well. I really like that. I really like the light in this picture. Well, it's quite a simple, it's probably a top light. I would imagine it's probably a lot of the light in this shot's available light, but it's just nicely controlled, nicely seen. The way it's hitting all the cotton bales behind the subject there, the colours in the cotton bales and the colours in the subject's top. There's some really nice colours going on the top, and the way she's holding the cotton bale. A little bit concerned of her finger positions. I think the hands could have been better positioned there. I mean, I'm no portrait photographer. I'm sure they could advise you better. But I think she could have been holding it perhaps slightly better with the fingers. I like the angle she's holding it at. Again, background-wise, I just changed the crop a little bit because on the left-hand side of the image, the two brass pipes going up the wall there, I find those quite distractive. Maybe this cotton work could have been hung to disguise them, or just change the crop slightly to lose that part of the image so your eye doesn't flick out that side. I love the top. We've got some colours coming through there. The sewing machine's a brother and stuff down the bottom. But that picture quite appeals to me. Yeah, I really like the way they've engaged with the subject. It sucked me in. There's a few faults there, but quite easily be fixable. I think most of the picture is really good. Yeah, well done. There we go. Obviously a Christmas scene here. The idea is there. I just think the execution could have been a little better on this one. There's a little bit of a magenta-y cast to the image. I see they're trying to get a warm cast in the shot with the Christmas feel. I get that, but I just think the colour tone's not quite right. I like the light coming from the left, coming across, but again, it's just positioning the light. There's too much light hitting the left-hand side of the image, and then the right-hand side of the image is probably more accurate. And this is a question, when you're throwing a light across any type of a subject, you often want to be using the edge of the light. So even though the light would probably be pushing back very much towards the lens of the camera, because we're just using that beautiful feather edge, which if you're positioning it that way, would enable you to get a nice even spread of light with loads of definition, which is what a nice side light's doing. It's giving shape to all the things in the image. But I just think the positioning of that light's not right, unfortunately, on this particular shot. Also, there's some really interesting stuff going on with this fire and this chair and the wood and in the background, the beautiful wooden floor. And again, I think a slightly different composition, coming maybe more over to the right, repositioning all the products obviously to suit that, could have worked better for that shot. So I think the idea's there, the location's there, the general direction of the light, I think will work really well. It just needs to be more controlled. This is what I'm saying, particularly with flash, you've got to really control those light sources when they go into your shot. But nice effort. Yeah, very positive. Some nice colours in the tree too. Yeah, flash outdoor portrait. It looks, this is Noma, I think. I've shot this building a few times myself over the years in Manchester. Yeah, I love this technique, and I get involved in quite a lot of annual report, corporate work. We use a lot of flash outdoors, so I like the technique. I think there's a very nice balance between the sign and the subject. I think the photographer's shown good control of the flash and the sign on the left there really nicely. But there's a few things, again, not quite. I understand it's not the best day, so we've got I don't mind that mood in the sky and the building. I think that's right, but this is a case sometimes where it's like this box in the middle of the picture. There's some sort of electrical box, which I find distractive. Also, the lamp just to the right of the subject there, I find slightly distracting. Sometimes this is where, you know, if you use a box, or just get the model stood a bit higher, and then you can sort of lift them above these problems areas of the shot without getting too low and looking up their nose too much. Because I don't think the photographers come too low, to be honest, on this shot, for me anyway. But maybe just lifting the subject might have helped that. Again, very good connection between the subject and the photographer. I like the expression, I like the eye connection. He's got nice light, nice sparkle in her eyes there. I mean, her hair might be a bit flow away in the wind, but that, for me personally, that works. You know, I'm probably more of a corporate type people photographer than a full portrait photographer. But I do like the shot, and I like the control, the balance with the screen on the left. Yeah, I like the pitch. Just a few changes could make it even better, I think, that particular shot. So again, well done, very well done. Okay, yeah, this is obviously a sort of lifestyle interior with some quite hard light coming into the subject. Again, I think this sort of shot, this has got the makings of a really good shot, but there's just a few things not being controlled right in this particular shot. I like the light coming into the space. I think that's great, not a problem, some hard shadows, but I like all that. But with it being a lifestyle shot, you need to look at your models in the shot, and they just don't all look happy enough, if that makes sense. It's just capturing that expression quite right. Also, I can see they've put flowers into the picture, which have brought nice colour in, but they need to be a bit more carefully positioned. As you can see, this middle bunch is sort of growing out of the young girl's head. It's sort of slightly disguising what mum's doing in the background. Then there's the bunch just to the right of mum, which is cropping with her through the shot. So just some more careful positioning of some of the props throughout the shot. I quite like the open door leading into the room beyond. I like that idea of seeing through the space. And there's a door on the right which is slightly open as well, right on the edge of the frame. And I like that, as if you're seeing through the space. The door on the left, though, I think it's a little bit too wide open. I think it was come in more, it would make the space a bit more intriguing rather than seeing what's straight in there when it's not the best view. They look like they've put some sort of light in there to light that part of the shot up, but it's just, again, not quite controlled. It's very hot on the right-hand side of what's in that second room compared with the left. So maybe take the power down or repositioning it. And again, if you're just bouncing, you've got a very white space here, so they might be bouncing it into the part of the room to do that. Just by twisting the light around more to the right or to the left or up and down, just think where that light's hitting. When it hits, how it then, the surfaces in the room become the reflectors and how they flow that light into the space, maybe could take some of that hotness away from the shot. But a very nice effort. I like the idea. I like what they're trying to do. Just thinking a few things through and prop placing. Again, the bowl of fruit in the foreground, it's going into the young girl's laptop. So we can't really see is that a laptop. So just little movements of props can make all the difference to shots like this. Lovely light, by the way, on these front cabinets here, which is really bringing out the textures. I don't know if this has been shot for the kitchen company. If it was, I think that's a great feature, bringing out that lovely texture. So there's a lot of elements working really, really nicely within the shot. And again, maybe just where the dishwasher around there, a little bit of a light, just very gentle, being into that area, a bit like this is hit lovely with light, just putting a bit of light, bringing that texture out, which will help the client see that through. But nice, nice, good effort. Well done, well done. This is interesting. This is, I assume this is some sort of candid photography. I don't know how much control the photographer's got off this particular scene. If the photographer hasn't got control, he's obviously got to capture, or she has got to capture that moment. If they've got control, you need to obviously position the people to shoot the shot. I suspect in this case, the author's not had too much control, was having to grab what's there. It's not the best day. It looks like it's raining or spitting. So everything doesn't look, you know, the light's not brilliant. But I just feel that you need a bit more mood in it. You've got a campfire, so maybe you just need to take the exposure down just to create a bit more mood into that scene. Alternatively, if you have got the control, you can maybe use a bit of lighting, a bit of flashlighting with a warm CTO gel on, just to put a bit of, because as if the fire's producing a bit of light onto the people. So it just needs to be a bit more control. Also, a little bit more post-production might help this shot, just to give it a bit more zing throughout there. Okay, yeah, another one looks like part of the same series, grabbed again. Great expressions. You know, you've got the expressions there, but it's just composition-wise. The lady in the background, she's got the white sort of thing to protect her for the rain. That's sort of running into this lady, making it a bit more disturbing. If the photographer had maybe come across a bit to the left, he could have lost that and put her into a better part of the scene, like this lady's quite isolated. And obviously we've got this carrier bag here as well on the right-hand side of the shot. So just thinking about the compositionally. And again, I think just a little bit more control in post, you could add a bit more, because I know it's not a great day. The light's not got a lot of direction to it. But I think with a bit more post, you could add a little bit more contrast and zing to the shot. Bring the colors out and so forth. Or maybe desaturate them. It might work better that way. Okay. Again, same scene. This one, to me, you're getting a bit more atmosphere now, and I like this. You know, the fires, the idea of the fire is coming across. It's probably, we're probably now gone, everything's gone a bit dark. It's like I said before, it's just taking everything down, giving it a bit more mood. And more importantly, we've got the lovely lights of the seaside town in the background. So we've got a nice bokeh going on there, some nice reflections. And we've got this chap in the middle here, the way he's connecting across with the people he's chatting to there, and the way the fire's coming through. I like the boy moving across through the shot. I just feel compositionally this picture's working much better for me personally. I like the colours and the tones coming through better. But again, I think those could be even improved a bit more in post. And again, stuff like this, always watch your exposures. You know, optimum exposure will give you optimum file quality. So just watch what you're doing. Don't over, you know, think, oh, I can fix that later in post. If you can get that exposure at the best when you take the shot, that'll give you more room to push and pull the file in post-production. But yeah, nice shot. Well done. Very well done. Portrait here. Yeah, great. I really like that picture. I like his expression. I like the colours. I like the tones, even down to the colour of his boots. You know, you get a real feel through from the boot. I think there's quite a nice light across the chap's face. I like the background. The first thing that jumps out that's against the picture for me. It's just too tight, particularly at the top. It's very tight to the top of his head. You've got, I think, a little bit more space at the bottom of the picture than the top. So again, back it off, or maybe you've got more space. You know, give yourself a bit more space around the subject to allow you to do that. It's on some sort of canvas background, which I like the effect of. And, you know, I like the full length look with the boots and the bottom of his jeans and that idea. So there's probably even a great picture at sort of 3/4, a tighter picture in there. But again, lovely connection between the subject and the photographer. So yeah, I like the shot very much. I mean, you could say the lighting could be a bit, you know, more dramatic and whatever, but I don't know. I like the picture. It's a nice shot. But just give more space around. Thanks, Martin. Great. Lovely little portrait picture. The nice window light coming through from the side. Lovely little girl in a lovely dress. Lots of things about this picture that are really nice. Personally, I'm not too sure I like the way she's leaning into her arms against the wall there. It just looks a little awkward. I like the expression. I think it's connecting very nicely with the photographer. The window on the left, is it adding a lot? There's a lovely empty space here on the right of the image, and I'm just wondering whether the better picture would have been to pull her into that side of the space. I also think the photographer's used some sort of fill here, which is filling in on the picture, and I think he or she has overdone the fill. The author's overdone the fill, I feel, and I would have liked to have seen that window light create more direction, more fall off, so it created more shape across the little girl there, and just controlling that. So it's just about controlling your light sources. Look at where your main source is coming from, which hopefully in this case could be the window. If there's not enough coming through that window, there's need to stop you putting a flash outside the window and putting some light through that way, or a light that way, just controlling that shape. But the basis of the shot is there. I just feel there's a much better shot trying to get out of this particular picture, really. I think there's more that could be done with it. But a nice picture, and I'm sure a very saleable picture. Yeah. Yeah, again, this is, it's a nice shot. We've got the nice window light, and in this case, the window light's creating a bit more shape to the subject through there. There's something seems about the background of the subjects. I don't know whether there's been any post or something's been added there. Something just doesn't seem quite right to me in this particular shot, which slightly jars with me. I quite like her expression, the way she's looking down. I quite like the light across the back. It's just, again, I just feel the post isn't quite right on this shot. The tones, particularly when I looked at it on my ISO monitor, the tones just aren't quite strong. Again, I think there's a really good picture in here trying to get out, but it's just not quite there on that particular one. But a nice effort, nice effort. I like the light across the face very much. Oh, that's a great shot. That's a lovely shot. I really, really like that picture. I just love the connection again with the author and the two subjects. I mean, the way their eyes are both coming across there together. I'm just drawn in, my eyes just flicking from his eyes to the dog's eyes and back up again. Really like that picture. I like the crop as well. It's quite a powerful crop. It's gone in tight there. Nice light across the subject. Nice black and white tone. When I saw it on the other monitor, the tone looked really, really nice. I just think it's a very powerful picture. It appeals to me personally, but I think also it's well executed, well seen, well controlled. How much control the photographer had, it's hard to say. Maybe he grabbed it, maybe he controlled it, she controlled it, I don't know. But the author, I think, has done a great job. Yeah, I really like that picture. Great shot. Another lovely picture, lovely picture. Very different from the last image in terms of now we've got a lot of control here. There's obviously, styling wise, fantastic. I mean, I think the photographers style that really beautifully with the propping, the position of the hands, the flowers, the dress. I love the tones of the image as well. The color tone really appeals to me, and the way they've brought those reds and the sort of taupey tone below the girl's eyes there. I think the author's done a lovely job here. I love the background as well. I think the background really complements. Lighting wise, maybe there could be a little bit of improvement in the lighting. Her left shoulder's quite hot. You know, it's a bit bright there. And, you know, I think that could have done with being taken down. The light across her hand, The top hand there, I think, is really beautiful. The light across the flowers. There's obviously a lot of post going on in here, and it's just getting that combination to be in the lighting that you've put into the picture and the post-production you've put into the picture. But a very nice image that with a little more control could be even better. But please don't take it. It's a lovely shot. Yeah, very well done. Love the colours. And again, great connection with the subject. You know, I feel I'm being drawn into to the subject. So I think it's great. The author and the subject have really connected really, really well. So well done. Yeah, great shot. Yeah, another good shot. Nice. I quite like the framing. I like the light on the subject's face. I like the texture across the skin. The connections there in the eyes coming across. Nicely controlled shot. Again, just getting that composition between lighting and post, because again, I can see there's quite a bit of post-production going on here. It's like the lower part of the ear on the left of the shot. It's quite bright. They've posted that, the bit of post-production, they've tried to take that down, but it just needs a little bit more control in those parts of the shots. There's certain parts of the shot, you've really got it framed really nicely. Other parts, you just need to control that post-production there, or more importantly, I should say, control the lighting. But yeah, very powerful shot. Framing wise, I like the frame. Maybe it could have been a little tighter, but I think we're picking up on small things there. But yeah, nice shot. Nice catch light in the eyes that I like too. Yeah, great. Well done. Wow, another very interesting picture. Again, great styling. I don't know whether this is the same author as the picture before last, but lovely styling, lovely idea. Love the headdress, love the neck area, that neck jewelry or whatever you would call it around the jewelry. Some really interesting things going on around the eyes and the mouth there. So again, really well styled shot. Nice color palette, lovely color palette. In fact, love the background too. Post-production around the eyes is a bit heavy for me personally. I would like to see it a bit more natural in terms of the way it's handled. Try and do a little bit more with light than with post on that. But that's probably a personal thing for me, but a very effective picture. Yeah, like it very much. Yeah, really powerful, quite a powerful image. Like it very much. Yeah, it's something very different now. Obviously, is this an Irish dancer? I'm not sure, perhaps. Taken out in location in a very interesting backdrop. Again, some flash outdoors mixed with the daylight, which I think works really well. I think nice, what I'd say here, what I like about this shot as well is that, again, I personally use a lot of flash outdoors photographing people, and what they've done here, they've followed the flash outdoors to where the daylight's coming outdoors as well. So the lines of the lights followed a similar angle, and I really like that. But sometimes people bring the flash from a totally different directions from the actual sun in the shot, and sometimes that can work and look really different and work. But in a lot of times, it's obvious what's been done. Whereas here, it's a slightly more natural feel, which I think works really well. Again, by doing that lighting technique, it's really brought the textures and the colours of the dress, the headdress, the girl's hair out really, really well. Obviously, this is a pose. They're making the dancing standing up in this powerful background, the colours. It's a great shot, yeah. I mean, maybe I personally would have liked to have seen a bit more life in that piece of fabric she's holding. It's just falling. Maybe if it could have been caught a little bit higher up, you know, when the flash has been fired to handle that, you know. But I'm being quite critical here, saying things like that, just trying to show something there. But it's a lovely shot, and well done. Nice background and so forth. Very dramatic. Yeah, well done. Landscape shot here with a long exposure, getting some movement into the sea, which always works really nicely. And of course, then you've got all the tidal that's obviously been flowing over the rocks. You've got this nice moisture feel in the rock here area. So you've got nice layers in this picture going through the shot. The light is okay, but I just don't think it's stunning enough. And I'm not sure whether the black and white conversions handle quite as well as it could be. It's one of them shots. I think compositionally it's nice. I think it's something, but I just think there's a better picture trying to get out of this location, and maybe a different time of day, a different moment capturing that, maybe a little longer on the exposure if you're using a big stopper to maybe make the water move even a little more and make it a little bit more ethereal. But I like the idea. And I like the execution. Nice detail on the left in the rock there. Nice shadow detail here they pull through. But I just feel the transition from the right-hand side shadow detail and the highlight detail just could have been handled a little bit better, maybe in the post or maybe in the time of day that you photograph the scene. So I think that's the major thing I'm adding to this picture, just picking that perfect moment, which is the thing with any landscape architectural shot. There's going to be a moment when the light's going to be at its absolute best. I'm not sure in here we've quite captured that, but a very good effort. Nice compositionally. Yeah, well done. Well done. We have another little dancer here, a much younger girl with the country house or whatever in the background. This is it's a nice shot. It's a lovely shot. I'm sure it's a very saleable shot. Don't think it's as successful as the other shot, because I think the flash, because it's a slightly softer day, that flash is quite hard on the little girl and it's quite hot. I'd have taken it down a little bit to try and, you need to get a slightly softer feel. And this is where sometimes, I know you can use soft boxes and brollies outside, but this is where when we photograph vehicles and helicopters and things like that a lot, we use really big screens, quite big screens. You can buy them from all the Manfrotto and various Lastalite, various people. So you could have so if you can imagine, if you'd have put a flash through a much bigger screen, say a 6-foot square screen, if you've got an assistant, they're only very lightweight, you can hold them really easy. And that would have made a much bigger light source, which would have been more in keeping with the light in that particular scene, which could have given a much softer wraparound light on the little girl. So it makes your lighting appear a little bit more realistic to the light source that's in the picture to control that. Also, just watch things like there's a tree or something in the background. You see how that straight line's coming very much through the little girl's head. But lovely, again, connection between the author, the photographer, and the little girl. And I like the idea, you know, the composition of the building in the background and its reflection in the water. In fact, and looking at it again, maybe there's a whole image just needs taking down a little bit on exposure. Only a little, maybe 5–8%. Just taking down a little might also help that shot. But yeah, good effort again. Thank you. Wow, more dancers. Looks like this author's photographing quite a lot of different dancers. Again, similar idea. They got out in the field. I mean, the choice of the field I think is lovely. I love the little bit of purple colour that's just in the field there, which is great. I like the green trees at the back. Now, the only thing I would criticise with the background is a telegraph pole or some line coming up here, which I find distractive. I think that would be worth retouching out. And this is also a case where if the camera viewpoint had gone a little bit higher, you could have maybe set the girl head more against the cornfield. So you've not just got cornfield going into green. That might have been a little bit more powerful and also allowed the green to go a bit higher up in the frame, which might have made a slightly better composition that way there. But I mean, fantastic for the girl to get into that position with a, you know, with a leg up like that, playing the flute at the same time is quite incredible. Nice light coming across the girl, flowing across the body, nice control, everything looks very natural there. Yeah, nice shot, I like it. Another dancer, totally different environment here with the ballet dancer on point. I don't find this one quite as successful. I mean, it's quite nice the contrast between the softness of the dancer and her tutu and so forth, and then the hard lines of the books and the shelving and the chair. But I'm not quite, for me personally, I'm not sure whether the dancer in the background work quite well, whether the hardness of those lines coupled with her works as well. And also because she's quite close to the books behind her, they're not very soft, so they're quite hard and start with. If they were much with a longer lens further back or she's further away from them, they could be softened off. Quite nice light coming from the right hand side across the shot there. Again, it's a little bit hard, the shadow just to the left of her head. It's a nice shot, nice idea, very nice positioning on the young lady. Just not quite sure it's quite the right location for that particular shot. But again, well done, very well done. And another one, yeah, another sort of dancer again. I'm not sure, maybe I'm thinking that because of the shots. I just feel here the connection between the photographer and the models not quite work the same. She's just looking off to the side. She just doesn't look too comfortable to me. And I also think compositionally, the background's great, but there's a great picture in there, but I think we've got too much space. I think it needs to be a tighter shot. We need to crop in on the shot, maybe a little lower with the camera position to make that background work. So we get this nicer area here rather than the lower area here. So a nice idea, but just not quite working, and a little bit more control in the light. Again, this is where bit of a, if you had an assistant maybe holding a fly swatter, California sunbound swatter, which is like a big little piece of muslin on a sort of frame which you can hold with a metal thing, just to soften that light coming in on it. So you're diffusing it out of camera shot, just diffusing that light coming in. So I think the idea is there, just a few things not quite working in this particular shot. But again, good effort. Great, out in the fields again, similar idea. Again, I just feel this one's not quite, I like the background, I like the location. I should say I like the location, I like the model, I like the colours. But again, it's just the cornfield and the trees, whether they're working together quite right with a slightly higher viewpoint, with a bit more cornfield might work. Also on this particular one, there's a nice backlight coming with the sun on the model, but maybe she needs a little bit more fill light coming in there. From the left, maybe just a little bit more fill light, just to make it pop a bit more. So again, nice effort, but just don't think it's quite as well executed as some of the other ones we've seen of the dancers. Something totally different now. Wow, polo. Yeah, it's very exciting sport. My friend's son plays this, and yeah, it's very exciting sport to watch. Great shot. I mean, captured quite an interesting moment there. There's quite a story there, really. I mean, the bow of this chuck or whatever, I don't know what they call these sticks they use, and then this one reaching out, the way he's nearly coming out of the saddle. Is he coming off the horse? You know, we've got the hooves off the ground. I think it's a nice moment, just needs more quality, more file quality for me. Some of the highlights are hot. We've lost detail across the back. It just lacks, I think, again, with a little bit more post-production, pull those highlights down, a little bit more contrast or whatever in there, just to zing the image up a bit. It just looks a little flat. Also, really annoys me on the composition is we've lost the horse's tail on the left. Now, I might be talking out of left field. I'm not a sports photographer, but I would have just liked to have seen the tail in there. But that might be just me. But a great shot, well seen, captured the moment. You obviously know your game and what you're capturing there. So, very good. Oh, another one. Yeah, similar series. Again, I think nice little shot, nice little shot. And I think there's an even better shot waiting to get out. The moment with the ball there, I think it's great. The horse, fantastic. The way the horse is sort of looking at the photographer, I really, really like. Again, I think this is where this photographer, I presume it's the same photographer as before, a little bit better on the post-production. The background looks a bit wishy-washy. You just need to get a little bit more quality into the file. You've sort of got it in the horse and the rider, but the background looks a bit washed out to me. So just a little bit of control there. Obviously, the only thing that lets this shot down is this other rider in the background. It's sort of colliding a little bit. I feel with a different crop, and you might get away with it even with a crop. There's a sort of quite a graphic image there. I love the space on the left-hand side of the image. Again, for me in my commercial work, it's the sort of thing we're always doing, leaving space around images so we can put typography or other images in. So it would work really well. So very, very well captured moment. This photographer's capturing the moments really well, but just a few other elements that need pulling in there. And again, the highlights are a little bit blown. So just a bit more control with that post-production when you're dealing with the raw file. God, same photographer again, I guess. I mean, it's great. You know, the horse coming forward here, all hooves off the ground. Again, just captured that moment really, really, really well. Same issues with the one on the post-production, I think could be a bit better just to zing the file up. A little bit of a problem again with this slightly distracting area. Is it a car, somebody watching in the background? Again, I'm not wishing to be hard on people, and but it's just things that will make pictures better, particularly thinking of going for competitions. I'm just trying to look at the elements you come out. But the photographer is capturing the moments, just needs to think about his compositions a bit more. If he could tidy those backgrounds up if it's possible. I know it's not easy. I appreciate that. And maybe a little bit of a help on the post-production, and you'll be really capturing those moments. Very well done. Very well done. This looks like some sort of commercial, maybe studio shot, or maybe in location been handled there of some, I'm not sure what this machine does. Yeah, it's well lit. It's very well lit. You can see exactly what's happening. There's some nice contrast across the shot. You can see exactly what's happening. The background's there. It sticks out. The subject's coming off the background. It just, for me, it's great. It's a great record shot of what's happening. Just needs a bit more drama. You've got to probably take a shot like this, but then also maybe modify your lighting or your composition just to give more drama, slightly more dramatic composition of the subject, and slightly more drama to your light, maybe more backlight, more rim light, just to make it come alive more. So nothing wrong with a straightforward record shot, but you've got to take things on another stage to really add something to a shot. It's to make you as a photographer stand out from the competition. But a good, solid record shot there, Jim. We've already seen that one, haven't we, Martin? That seems to repeat itself. Ah, here we go. And now we've got a little bit of architectural photography, very much up my street. Co-op Academy there in Manchester. Well, first of all, the photographer here has chosen a good day to go and shoot this picture. It's a beautiful day. We've got a lovely sky, lots of interesting clouds in the sky, some nice strong sunlight, which is giving nice definition to the building. You know, they're trying to get back a bit and show a little bit of the story of what's happening around a building, because sometimes it's nice to let a building breathe in its surroundings where it is. And so I think the photographer's done that. Obviously, the bane of any photographer's life is cars and parked cars. And we've got a number of cars here, which I think the photographer has really done well to try and not let them affect the picture as much as they possibly can. They're not actually even coming into the fabric of the building there. They've been isolated, got a higher viewpoint. But your eye can't help flicking to those cars. And this is one of the problems with architectural work. The light's right, the position's right, but the cars are wrong. So how do we get around that? Well, maybe a different viewpoint would have got around that problem, maybe one way, or maybe you go back on a different day when the cars aren't there. I know that's easy for me to say, but trust me, in my career, sometimes you take a shot and weeks later, people forget about the problems you had on the day, they just look at the shot. But it's a lovely shot, I'm not being too hard on. The other thing which is very easily controllable, I think the photographer has made a little mistake here, is this lady walking through the picture. She's right in the middle of that lamppost, so it's cropping her half. If the photographer had waited a few more seconds, maybe she's going to walk down there and just go between the two lampposts, okay? And then it would be clean. It would be nice to have a person in, you've got the cars for scale, but a person in would add scale as well too there. All the verticals are vertical, everything's nice and straight, which I like, which is great. It's a good shot, just a few little areas could have just added a little bit more to that particular picture. But yeah, well done, well done. We've seen that one as well. We've already seen that one, Martin, haven't we? So one or two have made a second appearance, I think.
Yes, Sean, that actually brings us to the end of the images. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, some great stuff there. Really enjoyed that, and some great feedback for the members.
Yeah, if I could just say, please don't think we're trying to be too hard on the pictures. We're just trying to give, you know, a positive sort of feedback on that there. And I really respect everybody for putting the pictures in, because if you don't put these pictures in, you're not going to learn, you're not going to get that feedback, you know, so it's really important to do that and make the most of the membership, really. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And your favourite image from the set?
My favourite image?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really difficult, because I think there's some great pictures in there. I think if I had to be pushed into a corner, if you keep flicking, I particularly like some of those, by the way, those ones, but my favourite one, I think if we keep flicking, keep going, is the man and the dog, wherever he is. I love that picture.
I can't remember where that was.
The black and white shot, man with the dog.
Yeah, I remember that. I think it was further down, wasn't it? Yeah,
there's been a great selection of different styles of imagery there, which has been really, this one, yeah. It's like anything in any photo competition, there'll be certain things which appeal to you as a photographer, you know, visually as well as everything else. I just think there's lots of things right with that picture. So I really, personally, really like that picture. But it's not to say it's the best picture, it's the one I like the best.
No, that's what I asked you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great pictures in there, and this is what hats off to everybody that's put their images in. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I've really enjoyed looking through them, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do that. So thank you for putting your pictures in.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody as well, and thank you, Sean, for taking the time for doing that. So this will be obviously broadcast in January, sorry. But yeah, please, as you can see, it's anonymous. We're going to open up in the next few days for the next critique or image review, and at that point I'll tell you who the person doing that will be. But again, thank you for everybody for putting images in. Don't be shy, get them in. It's the only way we learn. And to have some of the judges that we have, including Sean and some of our other members who are, you know, at the top of the game, it's a real opportunity to have some really good feedback. Brilliant. Thank you, Sean. Have a good day.
You take care, mate. Stay safe. Yeah. All the best.
And you. Thank you.
Bye.